Hi everybody, I'm Andy Scott and this is my business partner Robert Buchholz.
How are you today?
And we're with Scott Roberts and Associates. We're known as the background guys in the industry. And today we're going to be talking about credit reports.
There's one important point that we have to make before we get into credit reports.
We're not attorneys, we don't give legal advice, and anything that Robert and I say, particularly Robert, must be run through a attorney of your choice or corporate counsel. So we don't provide legal advice, we can't, we choose not to, but these are educational videos that you should listen to. Any questions you might have, you can call us, or you should go to your legal counsel for clarification.
Absolutely, but what I was going to say, and that's a very important point, but what I was going to say is I want everybody to know that when we get dressed to do the videos, etc., we don't consult with each other. So the fact that we're wearing the same color shirt today is purely random, okay? It's just, we didn't get a memo out to do the shirts or anything. I just want you to know that, just random. But Andy, more important things, credit reports. Why do people like to pull credit reports in regards to a background check?
Well, you know, some of our clients, in fact, industry-wide throughout the United States, for some reason employers think that pulling a credit report as part of the background search is important to making a hiring decision. And we just want to caution you that is not necessarily the case. Specifically, you want to pull a credit report as part of your background screening package only if the position that you're seeking to hire, the individual handles money or will handle money or will manage money or finances. Robert?
Or if the individual happens to be in an upper level executive position, generally the criteria is about $75,000 a year or more, and that particular individual obviously is worthy of a credit report. Credit reporting is a part of a background check process, as Andy said, used to be pro forma. But with the financial crisis of 2008 and forward, a lot of people were impacted by the financial crisis, really not at their own fault. It was kind of a matter of circumstances. So the industry kind of started to move away a little bit, away from getting background checks for rank and file applicants and for individuals who are not in that kind of selected area. High ranking, handling money, cash, cashier type persons, credit cards, those types of things. Many times call centers, they like to do that because they're taking credit card information over the phone. But there is a selected area. But if I'm a company and I needed to do a credit report, what's the criteria? How do I do that?
Sure. So if you were a client that was coming on board and you wanted to have the product of pulling credit reports for employment. Now remember, there's credit reports for tenant side as well if you're going to be leasing or renting a residence. So we'll stick with employment for today. And employment specifically is the following. If you want a credit report, there's some administrivia that you have to go through. The credit bureaus require an independent third-party inspector to come and visit your location as to where you're doing business. They want to make sure that you are a legitimate business having a permissible purpose to pull credit reports. We don't do that, Robert. We have actually a third party that's been sanctioned by the credit bureaus to do that.
And it's interesting because we don't nominate that third party, that individual. Those are companies that the credit bureaus require you to use. You can choose from a list of approved companies, but it's not our choice. It's actually credit bureau choice. They charge a fee which we pass through to the client at cost. So it's not as if we're in a profit-making situation like that for those particular credit reports. You mentioned credit reports for employment and credit reports for tenant. There's a difference between the two. And when you're going to do a credit report, and if you're approved to pull credit reports for employment purposes, you should know that's different than a full credit report for tenancy. What's the big difference?
The big difference is credit score, meaning for employment purposes, there is no credit score provided. In addition to that, you get your trade lines noted on that credit report, but you don't get account information on employment credit reports, which is conversely different with tenant screening reports. With tenant screening credit reports, you're going to get a credit score, and you're also going to get the trade line account numbers as well. So that's the distinct difference. You cannot run a tenant screening report if you're hiring for employment purposes only. But we can mitigate that because we identify the product within our package, so you won't have to do that.
And it all has to do with permissible purpose, as Andy said earlier. It's the permissible purpose. Why are you doing this particular background check? And it deals with background checks as a whole and specifically as credit reports as a part of that background screening process.
Correct. And we get audited every year by the credit bureaus. We provide TransUnion credit reports and we provide Experian credit reports. We're going to be having an Experian on-site again once a year.
Yep.
And they do a very diligent job coming in, making sure that we are adhering to the Fair Credit Reporting Act and Experian's requirements. In addition, they make sure that you, the end user, is also adhering to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So they're going to be coming in a couple of weeks, and we got everybody ready to go, and we're all prepared to successfully pass that audit and what have you. So there's a lot behind pulling a credit report that you don't know. We've given you some of the highlights. Rob, what about pulling credit reports for an employment position of a car salesman when that individual doesn't have any handling of any money? Would that be a wise thing for our
Probably
clients?
not, because that particular individual doesn't do any of the money. And when you buy a car, matter of fact, just had a personal experience about that, and the negotiation is in the front office, the financing is in the back.
Correct.
Okay? So now you have a little bit of a dichotomy there, whereas the salesperson who you're dealing with up front in regards to negotiating the deal, probably you don't need a credit report. However, the finance guy that's running all of the numbers for you and setting up financing, if you're not paying him a cashier's check at closing right there, there's a guy that you would probably do a credit report on, because
Sure.
he's seen all of that information.
Sure. So that's a little bit of a simplistic example. Car salesman, no, you would not pull a credit report. Individual that's handling money as what we call in the business F&I, finance and insurance guy or gal, you're going to want to pull a credit report because they have their hands touching the money, so on and so forth.
At least the sensitive credit card information, social security numbers, dates of birth, what they call PII.
Personal identifiable information, so PII.
Throw that one at you a little bit fast, okay? I think that's pretty good for today.
Sure. We look forward to seeing you folks on our next video. Remember, we're Scott Robertson Associates. We're the background guys. Please call us, 888-605-4265, or get us on the web, www.scottrobertsassociates.com.
Have a great day.